What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of MBI Motorsports. In this episode, we're going to be going over how to make the modifications on the early Bronco body to make the big Coyote engine fit inside this bad boy. So stay tuned and we'll see you in the rest of the video. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So you guys saw in the intro what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be modifying the early Bronco body for a Coyote swap. So from what I understand, there's not a whole lot of videos online regarding all this stuff, so which is why Chris and I are going to knock this out for you guys. So what we're going to be doing, well, just to give you a quick recap of what this all takes. When this motor gets dropped in, the steering column is what's going to be in the way. So we got to move this over 1.5 inches, and we got to move this over 1.5 inches. So instead of just, I know I've done it on previous builds where we just shaved this, but these new Firewall assemblies that we get from our supplier, they make them all reinforced with this extra plate. You can get these plates from Wild Horses and Tom's, but we're gonna cut this whole section out and move it over. We're gonna take a chunk out, 1.5 inches over here, replace it back over here, and we're gonna take and cut 1.5 inches off of this wheel well, driver wheel well, and we're gonna leave a lip, and we're gonna set this right back on top. We're gonna do all of that on the bottom side. Obviously this thing's sitting on a rotisserie right now, so it's a little bit easier for us to do it, but that's the plan for today. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. We got a pretty big video for this, what do you want to call it? Series, I guess? Coyote swap series. I'm sure there's gonna be more videos to this, but.
Well, there's other changes we're doing as well. So we're no longer doing a full build on this. We have someone who wants it pretty much as it sits, just with these couple changes. We are gonna paint it, bedline it, whatnot for him. So that's why we're doing this modification, because we were not planning on doing a Coyote in this. That's why the modifications weren't done before primer and during assembly.
So that's where we're at. We're gonna get the time lapse going on this bad boy, get this thing rotated. We're gonna run masking tape on everything so we don't ruin the epoxy primer. This thing's literally so close and ready for paint. So, but we have to make this modification real quick. So stay tuned and we'll see you in the rest of the video.
Come right back. What exactly needs to be done to actually remove this wheel well, because this would be the position that a lot of guys are in when they have an existing Bronco, right? So there's a few welds that
so
need to be moved.
The reason why, I'll get back on camera. The reason why this video I think is gonna be so important is because this is where a lot of you guys are gonna be starting from. Obviously this body was built from scratch, the entire thing. Floor assembly is all one piece. The Firewall was not one piece. This is all pieced together. So it's pretty much all the pieces that you guys can get from Tom's, from Wild Horses, and so on. But to get this wheel well off, I don't know if you guys can see down there, but there's a few spot welds that hold this support onto this wheel well. We got to drill those out, remove that, and then in here, most of you guys should have this support that from the Firewall to the wheel well. We need to get that removed. We're going to be moving that over. Luckily, inside here, it's probably hard to see, where there's 3 spots there where we have the spot welds. We'll be able to drill those out pretty easy. But that's what we have to do to get this out. So a lot of you guys are probably like, why don't you just drill all of these out? No, absolutely not. So
well, that's with that too. There is a lip that comes off of this inner wheel well that lands on here. So normally we would cut back that wheel well and then make a new lip that then we would weld on. Considering this one's already in place, this is what we've done in the past as well, is we just cut 1.5 inches out, set this wheel well right over the top of it, that lip. So it's just gonna be cut 1.5 inches out, and then this piece is gonna lay right on top of this piece. We're gonna drill or punch holes through it all the way along here and then weld it from the underside so it won't be seen. You'll see later, future, like in a few minutes, what we're talking about here. But first we need to drill some spot welds and get this and then cut this wheel well and get it out of the way so we can get more access to the firewall. So we're gonna be disassembling and then reassembling in the opposite order.
And just a quick note on my 66, I did both wheel wells because I wanted them to be completely even on each side. So when you look under the, oh, that's probably right in that freaking light too. Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, that other side I matched up. I think I cut off, and I think I did 1.5 inches on each side, maybe an inch. I don't remember. Anyways, I just wanted you guys to know you guys can do both. We're only doing one because we're only moving the steering column over 1.5 inches. So stay tuned, and now we're gonna get the time lapse going. All right, the drilling's all done. Chris got his out.
It's not pretty.
Well, it's definitely not pretty. We got those out down there. I got mine out. I'm taking it inside real quick. Got these 3 that were done. Got those cut. So now what we're gonna do.
You got lucky too, because you could still see yours.
Yeah.
I remembered we put filler right here.
Oh yeah, it was all filled.
And then sanded it. That's why it's so hard to see.
So now what we're gonna do is, so you can see it's definitely not pretty, but we gotta mark off 1.5 inches right here. Get this cut. That way we can get this. Mine's stuck on here just a little bit. We'll be able to wiggle that out once we get this 1.5 inch lip cut. So that's what we're gonna do right now. You guys will be able to see that in the time code. So stay tuned. All right, guys. Before we get this thing turned over on its side, you probably saw in the time lapse we just took this windshield out. You're probably wondering, how in the world did he just do that? If you haven't seen our previous video, we have 10 rib nuts holding this entire windshield on. So we're able to take it, you know, rotate this thing, no problem, paint that entire windshield frame, no issue. So if you guys want to do that, highly recommend it. Just drill these holes out, put the rib nuts in, call it good. I think they're 5/16. I think that's what those were.
Yeah, I think they're
5/16. You know, we just have Allen heads. I put them back on the workbench, but yeah, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering how we just did that, but that's how. So stay tuned.
Rotate it, see it underneath right here.
Oh, this thing's lowered.
Low.
Yeah, we're low. That's good.
So we'll leave it right here. So we'll tape this off. Great part about a rotisserie is we can have this axis right now. We'll tape it off, make sure we're perfectly even, straight lines. We can cut it, and then that means we'll be removing this whole section. The support on the front is going to stay with the core support. The support that's on the back is going to stay with the wheel well, and then we'll reattach that to the firewall. Now, instead of when we cut it, we're not going to just straight move it over. We're actually going to remove it out of the Bronco. That way we can have enough room to do the firewall modification. Then we'll put it back in place. You guys will see in a second. So we're going to grab some tape, tape this up, make sure you have nice straight lines, try to do as clean a cut as we possibly can, and then we will be removing this from the Bronco. So we threw some 2-inch tape in here. We left a little bit of a lip from that edge, and then we ran through and we marked it and have ourselves a line. Masking tape is a huge friend of mine, and it keeps us from chipping the paint, whatnot on either side. Mind you, we are going to be repainting this later, but it's just a habit, and it's very nice and easy to be able to draw your line on paint rather than drawing it on one of the panels. So we have that all across, and it's a nice straight 1.5 inch line, so we're going to get cutting on it now. This is my transmission, and I know I
sound insane. All right, so we got the wheel well out. So here's the brace. There's actually 5 spot welds there.
by spot welds and like 12 holes. That was so hard to see. And you can't really drill from the top side, so.
Chris is getting this all masked off right now to get this entire area cut out. So again, you guys don't have to go to this extent, but since
you should.
Yeah, especially for this. Well, this firewall is different. So they have those, all the riv nut, whatever you want to call those threads in there. Most of the time, you guys aren't going to have that, especially the older bodies. But yeah, this is why we're cutting this whole section out, and you get it all welded back together, body filler on it. You'll never be able to see where this was modified. So that's what Chris is doing right now. So we'll get this put back on time lapse and keep you guys updated.
All right, world. So it's not pretty yet. So we have some magnets in here just kind of holding in place. Anywhere where the edge, like right here, it is perfect. So we can throw a tack there, just throw a few around, be able to remove the magnets, and then adjust it the rest the way it needs at every point all around here. As you can see with this gap and this gap and this gap, we shrunk the pieces quite a bit. So pretty much that slice that's out of there was how much the cutoff wheel took out. So every spot, like down here, it is perfect. So we're gonna throw a few tack welds on there, and that'll allow us to remove the magnets, get them out of our way, make it more of a solid point, and so we can flex and move this stuff and put it exactly where it needs to be. One thing that, if you guys are doing this yourself, just so you don't think you're crazy, we did put a little bit more bend in this piece right here, because the bend that runs across this firewall, it's less on this side than it is on this side. So we had to make some adjustments as far as where this crease is to make it actually line up with the firewall. And that's gonna get a little bit more massaging as we go. This little corner piece, you can see it was cut quite a bit. And we're taking this out because that used to sit right across here. But we are gonna put that back in and weld it so it'll still have this arch right here, just like it did before we started, rather than cutting it up square. So yeah, we're gonna get started, throw a few tack welds, massage it, everything else. If you followed any of our other Bronco videos, you know every bit about a Bronco, every piece, everything you do. There's a lot of massaging with the sheet metal. So we're gonna get at it.
All right, guys, got this all welded in. We're gonna grind it down. I know it's not pretty at all, but it's what it takes to get this thing strong. This thing going anywhere. It's stronger than it was before. But yeah, just gotta hit it with a grinder. See what low spots we have, what little gaps we need to fill in, and we'll hit it with some Bondo or some fiberglass filler. It's not Bondo anymore.
That metal filler stuff. That
Yeah.
stuff hardens hard. That's what we used all around on these areas where we had the other grind marks from our spot welds, and they did amazing. So
yeah, so this is the most difficult part about the body modification for the Coyote swap. Obviously this piece,
so that's an 1.5 inch lip that we have running around. That's what the fender's going to attach to right over the top of it, and that's what we need to take out. You know, usually we go about it a little bit different when we're planning this with the body as it's being built, but this is a very good kind of guide for what you're going to do on your existing Bronco. You know, if you're doing a Coyote, you're not going to have drivetrain, you're not going to have any of that other stuff in your way. So what we did here and what we did on this fender, you can do on your Bronco at home in your garage to get it prepped for doing a Coyote swap.
I know a lot of guys cut these things, they'll actually cut a section, 1.5 inches out of it. So then you're doing all of this back on that wheel well and then Bondoing, finishing. But this is so much easier. Just that, you know, the 3 little cuts, actually it's 1 cut, We're gonna drill the holes, punch the holes from the bottom side, spot weld, it's all done. So, and obviously if you had Raptor liner, you're gonna run underneath there, you would never see that stuff, but we're not doing that on this one. It's all color matched. So, but that's where we're at. Get this all ground down, get the inside cleaned up, get some body filler on this thing, and call it good. So stay tuned.
How you feeling about this?
Good. I'll throw some filler on here, and
so we got it all ground down now. So it was nice. We were able to hit this from both sides. Jared got it over there. I got it on the inside that you can't see, but it all worked out really, really well. You know, we want to give you guys something that you know is actually valuable. Like this right here. If you take this to a shop, they're going to charge you thousands and thousands of dollars just because they're charging you for what they figured out. Mind you, we will do this for a customer. If someone wants to pay us to do this because they don't have the time or the tools or the know-how, that's fine. But for you guys at home to have welders and grinders and all the rest of that stuff and know-how, get her done. Yep. You know, it's not a difficult modification to do at all. And then really, if you're doing like a full restoration on a Bronco, when you talk about rebuilding a motor, rebuilding a transmission, all those things, you can get the engine and transmission, so the Coyote with the 6R80 for cheap, real cheap from a wrecker with, you know, as long as it has under 100,000 miles on it, it's nothing really to worry about. The 6R80 transmission cross member, you can order up, what is it, like 160 bucks or something like that, 180 bucks. It's not expensive. When it's all said and done, it really doesn't cost you guys any more to do a Coyote swap. That's why being able to know to be able to do this yourself is an important deal, at least. Before you guys get all this paint and stuff done, a lot of guys don't even know, like, hey, you know, we can drop this Coyote engine in and not know. You know, you get these things painted and then they're like, oh my God, it doesn't fit. So, but to know about this before you go any further in your body work is huge. So, all right, so quick update. We're gonna be getting all these holes drilled down here to reattach the down in here to reattach the inner wheel well, front wheel well here. So I'm gonna get these drilled out, and we're gonna be welding from the bottom side and wait for Chris to get back here and get this thing all tidied up. So I know you guys saw, you know, we were able to get this all finished up yesterday. Just got to hit it with some Bondo, well, filler. I don't know why I keep calling it Bondo, but hit this all. We'll get that with the up to a 400. We're hit with 220, 320, 400. Hit it with the epoxy. Call it good. So this is day 2 of this little project. So we've been knocking away at this. I know once we get this all knocked out, we're gonna be going out to the paint booth, get the burner all set up so we can get this thing fully functionable, put to use this 125-degree burner. So that'll be nice. But anyway, stay tuned and get this time lapse going, and we will keep you updated. All right, there you go. Got 4 there, 3 up top, and 3 down there. It took just a couple minutes to do that. So again, we're gonna be welding this from the bottom side. We can reach to get this thing rotated, weld it up. Spot weld, we gotta clean this all up real quick. I'm gonna hit this. And Chris got that all out yesterday, so that's what I'm gonna do real quick. Get this cleaned up. Get this all ground down real quick so it's nice and clean. And obviously I gotta hit the inside of that wheel well. Make sure that's all bare metal so we can get this thing welded up. So stay tuned. So I don't know if you guys saw in time lapse, all I did was mark all of my spot weld locations from the bottom side so they're all nice and clean. So I'm going to take this little angle grinder, hook it up to the air hose. There's a nice little
soft pad on here. This is just going to remove the paint, doesn't burn any holes or anything in here. So I'm gonna get that knocked out real quick. You guys can take a look. All right, guys, there you go. Nice and clean. Ready for some spot welds. Gotta clean up this edge real quick. Make sure it's all straight, square. Get that put back on there and get this thing all welded up. Alright guys, so you can see, got all that finished up. Got that finished up. I just need to hit with 400 real quick. This is all done. Hit this with 400. It's all perfectly smooth now. I do gotta come back in here, sand this all back down. So this is done. I forgot to get those spot welds, but that's where we're at. So I'm gonna get this hit real quick with some 400. I'm gonna vacuum up all this filler dust, get this thing cleaned up. Before I get out of here today, hit this with some epoxy primer, let it sit overnight. Sorry if it's loud in here. I got this new diesel burner going over here, so I don't know what that noise is gonna be like, so I'm testing it out to see if we need to turn that off before we start taping. So I'm gonna get this place cleaned up real quick, get this thing prepped for epoxy, get the time lapse going, and see you guys shortly. All right guys, everything's all tack welded, or sorry, spot welded, ground down. Got up here too, got those grinded down. So what I'm gonna do now, this thing flipped over, get this with some more putty, get this thing all leveled out. And I was hoping I wasn't gonna hit that deep on these grinding, or the grinding, but nicked it pretty good. So I'm gonna hit this with some filler. Want this thing, this part of the Bronco inside the firewall and the engine bay, you know, they're all 150% noticeable. So we're gonna get that touched up real quick, sand it back down. You guys know the process, but yeah, you know, this is the final look. You know, you can see we're 1.5 inches that way, you know, with here and there, and that big Coyote swap motor will fit right in here now. So anyways, stay tuned, get this all touched up, and hopefully before 5 o'clock we can get this thing shot with some epoxy primer. So stay tuned. All right guys, we are all ready for epoxy primer. Got it all sealed up. This is the part of the whole bodywork process that I can't stand. It's the ugliest, but she's about to be pretty here in a couple minutes. I'm gonna try getting this thing shot right now before I take off. That way it's all done tomorrow. We can get this paint booth all situated. We gotta get the burner and stuff set up still. So anyways, I'm gonna get back at this. Got the new batteries in the time lapse, so I'm gonna get going on this. All right guys, that's a wrap for today's video. I know it was a 2-day, yeah, I think it was 2 days that we got put into this, but it is all finished. there it is. I know you guys are probably wondering, what in the world is this lip right here? But it's this plate. It's the brake assembly, the plate that reinforces the firewall. But we moved it over 1.5 inches. Got this all done. I know it's gonna be hard to see up here, but that's all done as well. But yeah, came out good, all complete. You know, we're ready for paint now. We just gotta sand this all down, get it all knocked back down another 400. But yeah, it's pretty much ready for paint. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys made it this far, there's no reason why you guys can't subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell. Please do. I know the channel slowed up a little bit, but we're still push and play. Or sorry, record. You guys are push and play. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. It's been a long day, and we will see you guys on the next video. See you later.